Okay, now this is better. See, I don't even know how to use my new phone, I don't think. But look at the wind blowing. Where's the sun? It was out a little while ago. It's so windy, and there's a screen here, so it's not the. I'm inside the house. It's freezing. I went outside. Ooh, got my feet got wet, and it's not exactly springtime in Las Vegas. It's December 25th almost. It's December the 24th, 2021. It's Christmas Eve. I just got off the phone with my credit card, Rogers Bank, and they do the FIDO.ca for my cellular. I've been with them for 26 years, ever since they began in Canada. But I'm down here in Las Vegas, the first time I've ever traveled alone, to visit my old sweetheart from Toronto. The last Christmas we had together was in 1961 in Toronto at my parents' house, 41 Binswood Road, Toronto, Ontario. It was near East General Hospital. My mother was a nurse there in the maternity ward, and my daddy worked for the Canadian Pacific Railway as a truck driver in the terminal downtown Toronto. So here I am in the other side of the planet, the other side, the Pacific Ocean side of Canada, but this is USA. So I'm not too far from where I live in YVR, Canada. And it was a really rough 757 Boeing. It was a 757 Boeing jet, and man, was it ever rough. But in no time at all, we were here, 2.5 hours. Never in my life, in my wildest dreams, would I believe that I would be here in Las Vegas. I love Celine Dion and Luciano Pavarotti, but I think they performed that song in New York, at I don't know, New York City. But the festivities are going to be minimal now because of the pandemic. We have a world pandemic and a couple of variants, so I took a chance. I call this essential travel because it is essentially traveling. You know, and I was clear. I had no illness when I left Canada because I got, the antigen test, and I had to pay $103 for that. So, and I've got $600 my Auto Club BCAA on my body in case I do contract any debilitating or, apparently my friend here, he's 88 now, and he needs a booster. He's due for a booster. So he's having problems with his care team. They have a care team called Humana, HUMANA. So I guess, people like time off. It's Christmas holiday time. And I believe Tanya went to Baja in California. And that's very beautiful. She'll be lying out in the sun, getting a suntan, the Serbian girl. I had 6 Balkan babies, and they all love the sun except my son. My son, he's like me with the fair skin. We don't care about the hot sun, but we like the warm weather. Nobody likes to be cold, but you can't go swimming in that beautiful pool. If it was heated, or if it was at a fancy hotel in Las Vegas, you could jump in and go swimming in the cold weather here. If you had a hot tub, that would be healthy, But all these things cost a lot of money, and you have to watch and pinch pennies, and, who cares, right? Doesn't matter. You can still be happy. You don't have to have the world with a fence on it, because when I met my sweetheart here, I knew him a long time before he got married to Maggie, but her spirit is here too because this is her home and his home. And they were together, 25 years or something, I don't know, maybe more. But he was telling me he had a very, very happy marriage, and then she got really sick and he had to take care of her. And that's very sad, and you deal with a lot of guilt, You think you could have done more because they were she was 13 years younger, and I was like 11. So, when you date other younger women, you got to expect you might outlive them or they might outlive you. You don't know the future. So we don't know. I never thought of my wildest dreams. I was just a kid. He was my teacher when I met him, when I was 17, So I have a different relationship with him because I knew him years before he got married in the 80s. And I met him in 1961, so that's a couple of decades later he finally got married. He was very, a poker kind of guy. He didn't care too much for women. He liked to play poker and European poker and blackjack, and I just let him do his thing. He wanted me, but he didn't want this responsibility of a family. I see that now. Well, I knew that then, and that's why I broke up with him, because I thought, well, the social worker said, you owe it to yourself, Heather, and you owe it to those two little girls. Can you imagine? Nothing was planned. Little did I know that in that picture on 41 Binswood Avenue, the only picture I have of him, I had a little baby growing in my tummy, and I didn't even know it. Neither did he. We were so young and innocent back then. People were not, like they are maybe years and decades later. The culture changes, and even my culture. Not everybody was worldly wise and promiscuous at a young age back then, but I was seduced by a very handsome man. My father said, he's old enough to be your father. But he was such a gentleman and a kind man. He wasn't to hurt me, but he wanted somebody. He didn't realize how young I was because I looked older, because I got a job as a secretary and I had to, play my part, play the role, and wear high heels and white gloves and a hat to work at this Toronto Stock Exchange. I might have been as soon as I went out on my own, they relinquished me as being a foster kid, obviously, until I got pregnant. Oh boy, then they start watching you like a hawk. And yeah, I did. I had to maintain 3 rooms of furniture. So yeah, I did put my daughter temporary custody in the care of a foster home so that I could buy 3 rooms of furniture, which I did. And the man at the furniture store was very kind, and he gave me credit, $5 a week I paid for the furniture. I was a very responsible teenager. I had nobody to help me. My parents, my aunts, my uncles, nobody came to help me. Only one aunt volunteered. And I said, Aunt Rosemary, and I started crying. She was so beautiful woman. My daddy loved her. But my mother got jealous. But she was adopted into the Skeen family, you see. And he said, do you know what he'd say to my mother? He'd say, she's the only normal person in the family. Well, you know why that happened? That's because, now I understand I'm not 12 years old anymore, or 10. But that happened because of trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, because their mother in 1924, she couldn't handle the pain and anguish of her legs bleeding, and she took her own life. She couldn't handle it anymore, but she knew they'd be in good hands. She couldn't handle the anguish and the pain, the emotional pain of being far away from her mommy and daddy and her grandparents and all of her family in Scotland. And she's not a sinner for taking her own life. I'm not judging my beautiful Margaret Smith. Margaret Coote Smith was a beautiful woman, and my daughter Christina wrote an essay about her, and she got A+ at Malaspina College in Nanaimo. And Christina she's got a kind of a gift, prophetic or whatever, but she's got some kind of a magical gift from God. I don't know, maybe her ancient ancestors bestowed some gift on her, but all of my children are special. There were 6 Balkan babies, and everybody is unique in every way. Maybe the circumstances of their why they came into this world. Maybe I was just like a immaculate conception. I thought my 2 older daughters, it was immaculate conception, the Catholic Church, you know. But isn't that a beautiful tree? Do you see how rough the wind is here? It's freezing and it's raining. I thought it would be sunshiny and oranges growing on trees. I've never been in Las Vegas before. I'm a poor lady, a poor secretary from Canada. Low wages, no union job, not much money, but whatever I have, that little bit, that severance. Was that a bird? Oh, there's a pretty bird. Hello, pretty bird. What kind of a birdie are you? Hello, look, he came to the window. He said, feed me. Give me some food. Give me a berry. Give me a blueberry, will you? But I better not feed them, or she's going to hit the ceiling if I do. Did you ever feed the birds, Urs?
Oh, no, they eat without me.
They eat, where do they eat?
I don't care what they eat.
Yeah, but it's winter. There's nothing for them to eat, Urs.
Oh, why don't you go?
How about if I threw a few blueberries out?
No, you don't.
Did Maggie ever feed the birds?
Leave me alone about Maggie, about anybody.
Okay,
Leave me
he's
alone.
cranky. I don't know what's wrong. I want to help him, but I don't know. I've only been here. Well, I arrived late Monday, and it's difficult. He's 88 now, and it's difficult. And I don't know if somebody out there in the world, the cyberspace, could call him and wish him and talk to him, because he thinks that I'm the Wicked Witch of the West right now. 1 minute, and the next minute I'm the wonderful. Why did you come here? Blah, blah, blah. Now I've missed. He's just scared. He's scared, and he's older, and he thinks everybody's out to cheat him. I don't want anything from him. I just want to spend Christmas with him, because when I was 17, I was in Toronto with him, and we were both very poor, but he was tall, dark, and handsome, and I was a beautiful young woman, girl. No, I was a girl, still a girl at 17, not a woman. You're not a woman till you're 21, till you can vote. I was not even a young adult. I was a teenager back then. But here I was with this older man, because my mother said, it's better to be an old man's sweetheart than a young man's slave. Oh, really? But you can be an old man's slave too when they get sick. Gotta think when you take those wedding vows. And you better take care of them. It depends on the culture. You're not allowed to go out and have a coffee with your girlfriends. Not in that culture. Serbian Orthodox. No. But Canadians are different, Canadian culture. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And it's Christmas Eve. Jesus is the reason for the season, right? And sing the King is Born. When I phoned the Humana, the company that takes care of her yesterday, I said, what song would you sing when you go to church? I pretend she was in Mississippi. I could tell she was a black woman, beautiful, like Mahalia Jackson, you know. And she said, how about let's sing A King is Born? I said, Alicia, thank you. Humana, hey Humana, thank you, Alicia. A King is Born. And then I Googled that, and I posted it on my Facebook, and it was a man, Bob Ingalls, in California. And I'm not too far from California right now. You know, it's just a little bit down the Pacific coast here. But oh man, is it ever beautiful. But the weather is lousy. It's winter, you know, it's Christmas Day tomorrow, and it's 2021, and I'm celebrating 60 years of having yet one more Christmas with the man I fell infatuated or in love with. He was my teacher, that's what it was. It was a relationship. Look, I'm the little student, and he's my teacher teaching me his language. And that's the kind of relationship we had. We didn't want kids. I mean, we were young and free. He was a professional gambler, and I was a young girl working at the Toronto Stock Exchange. But we got sidetracked, I guess. He did, I did, but not him. He knew exactly what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. He was older, you know. But we had fun. The few times and the good times and the movies we saw were love stories, and I guess that's what gave me the idea that I was in love with the guy. I don't know, but I just thought he was a nice guy and like a teacher, you know. So he's the teacher, Mr. Colakovic, the teacher. Uros, U-R-O-S. He said his grandmother gave him the name. Svete Uros, it's a saint. Uros the saint, you see. So his family must have been religious. They must have gone to church, but their church is January the 7th. 2022 would be we call it Ukrainian Christmas here, but in his country, that's the Christmas. Either you're a Serb or you're Roman Catholic. And then Tony Ranchevich, hey, Merry Christmas, Tony. Srečno Božić, Srečno Božić. And budi mi dobro, ovo tamo u Niagara, tamo daleko u Niagara Falls. How do you say that? Počestim na božićni dan 2021. Pa ja govorim po srpsko-hrvatski. Ili hrvatsko-srpski, šta je to? Vuk Karadžić, nema vezi kod Englezi, ma šta mi briga. Sretno Božić, 25. December, I don't know how to say December in Croatian, 2021. In Serbian, I don't know the months. I never learned the months. Anyway, it's the same. It's that one calendar is, we use the Gregorian calendar and they use Julian calendar. So look it up on Wikipedia. Sretno Nova Godina, sve. Sve najlepše. Sve najlepše u Las Vegas. Samo malo puno hladno. Hey, Happy New Year and God bless, and Jesus is the reason for this season. Remember that. A king is born. A king. We don't like the monarchy, but that's the song she told me to sing. That woman in Mississippi that works for Humana. Bye now. My message on December, it's 18 minutes long. I've got my data and Wi-Fi right here on my little iPhone 12. Apple company, Apple. I love Apple, but I like Microsoft too. I'm a Microsoft and an Apple user. Because business world, Microsoft. Bye.